He passed through villages, and the children threw stones at him. The men sent him away. The star child searched for 3 years. Sometimes he seemed to see his mother on the road in front of him. He called to her and ran after her, but he never reached her. People told him, "No, we have not seen her. Nobody has walked along this road." They laughed at him. One evening he came to the gates of a great city. The soldier at the gate stopped him. "What do you want here?" "I am looking for my mother," he answered. "I want to come into this city, please. Perhaps she is here." "Your mother will not be pleased when she sees you. You are uglier than the ugliest animal. Go away." Another soldier said, "Who is your mother, and why are you trying to find her?" He answered, "My mother is a beggar. I have been very unkind to her. I want her to forgive me." But they stopped him going in. He turned away, crying. Then an officer came. "Who is trying to come into this city?" he asked. "A beggar," they answered. "And he is the child of a beggar, so we are sending him away." "No," said the officer, laughing. "We will sell him as a slave. The price will be the price of a loaf of bread." A strange old man said, "I will buy him at that price." He paid the money and took the star child into the city. They went along many streets and came to a little door. The old man touched the door with his ring, and it opened. They went down 5 steps into a garden. Then the old man put a cloth over the star child's eyes and pushed him into a building. When the cloth was taken away, the child was in a dark prison. The old man gave him a piece of bread and said, "Eat." And he gave him a cup of water and said, "Drink." Then the old man went out. He shut and locked the door. The old man was really a clever magician. The next day he came to the star child and said, "There is a forest near the south gate of the city. In it there are 3 pieces of gold. One is white gold, one is yellow gold, and the third is red gold. Today you must bring me the piece of white gold. If you do not bring it back, I will hit you. Go. This evening I will wait for you at the door of the garden." He put a cloth over the eyes of the star child and took him through the house and the garden and up the 5 steps to the door. Then he sent him into the street. The star child went out of the gate of the city and came to the forest. It was a beautiful forest, but the plants under the trees cut his skin. He could not find the piece of white gold anywhere. He looked for it all day. In the evening he turned back, crying. As the star child came to the end of the wood, he heard a cry. He saw a rabbit. "Help me! Free me!" it cried. "I am a slave," said the star child, "but I can free you." So he freed the rabbit. The rabbit answered, "You have helped me. What shall I do for you?" "I am looking for a piece of white gold. I cannot find it." "Come with me," said the rabbit, "and I will take you to it. I know where it is hidden." So the star child went with the rabbit and found the piece of white gold in a tree. The rabbit ran away, and the star child went towards the city. At the gate of the city there was a man. His face and skin were eaten away by a terrible illness. A grey cloth covered his face, and there were 2 holes in the cloth for his eyes. When he saw the star child, he cried out, "I have no food. Give me some money, or I will die." "I only have 1 piece of gold," said the star child. "If I do not take it to my employer, he will hit me." The sick man said again sadly, "Please give me some money, or I shall die." The Star Child felt sorry for him and gave him the piece of white gold. When the Star Child came to the magician's house, the magician asked, "Have you got the piece of white gold?" "No," said the Star Child, "I have not." So the magician hit him. Then he said, "Eat," but he did not give him any bread. He said, "Drink," but he gave him a cup with no water in it. The next day the magician came to the child and said, "Bring me the piece of yellow gold today. If you do not bring it, I will hit you harder than yesterday, and I will keep you as my slave." The Star Child went to the forest. All day he tried to find the piece of yellow gold. In the evening he sat down and began to cry. The little rabbit came to him. "Why are you crying?" asked the rabbit. "I am looking for a piece of yellow gold which is hidden here. If I do not find it, my employer will hit me again." "Follow me," said the rabbit, and it ran through the forest to a little stream. The piece of yellow gold was lying in the sand at the bottom of the stream. "How can I thank you?" said the Star Child. "This is the second time that you have helped me." "You helped me first," said the rabbit, and it ran away. The Star Child took the piece of yellow gold and hurried back to the city. The sick beggar saw him. He cried out, "Give me some money or I will die." The Star Child said, "I only have one piece of gold. If I do not take it to my employer, he will hit me. He will keep me as his slave." The sick man cried, and the Star Child felt sorry for him. He gave him the piece of yellow gold. When the Star Child came to the magician's house, the magician opened the door. "Have you got the piece of yellow gold?" "No," said the Star Child, "I have not." So the magician hit him and put him in the prison. The next day, the magician came to him and said, "If you bring me the piece of red gold today, you will be free. But if you do not bring it, I will kill you." The Star Child went to the forest. He looked for the piece of red gold all day. In the evening, he sat down and cried. The little rabbit came to him. The rabbit said, "The piece of red gold is in that hole in the rock behind you." "How can I thank you?" said the Star Child. "This is the third time that you have helped me." "You helped me first," said the rabbit, and it ran quickly away. The Star Child looked in the hole and found the piece of red gold. He hurried back to the city. The sick man saw him coming. He stood in the middle of the road and cried out to him, "Give me the piece of red gold, or I must die." The Star Child gave him the piece of red gold, saying, "You need it more than I do." But he was very sad. As the Star Child walked through the gate of the city, the soldiers greeted him. "That is a beautiful young man," they said. A crowd of people followed him, shouting, "Nobody in the world is as beautiful as this man." The Star Child thought, "They are laughing at me because I am so unhappy." He lost his way in the crowd, and suddenly he was in the great square. In that square was the king's palace. The palace gate opened. Government officers ran out to greet him. They said, "We have waited for you. You are the son of our king." The Star Child answered, "I am not a king's son. I am the ugly child of a poor beggar woman." Then an officer held up a mirror and asked, "Why do you think you are not beautiful?" The Star Child saw that his face was beautiful again, but something new shone from his eyes. It was love and kindness. The officers stood in front of him and said, "Wise men told us about this day a long time ago. We are waiting for you, for our new king. Take this crown and be our king." The star child said, "I cannot be your king, because I have been unkind to my mother. I must find her and ask her to forgive me. I cannot stay here." He turned away towards the city gate. Then, in the crowd, he saw the beggar woman who was his mother. At her side stood the sick man. He cried out in happiness. He ran to them and threw himself down and kissed his mother's feet. "Mother," he said, "I was proud and unkind. Now please forgive me and take me as your son." He held out his hands and touched the sick man's feet and said, "I gave you money 3 times because I was sorry for you. Ask my mother to speak to me." The star child's mother put her hand on his head and said, "Stand up." He stood up and looked at them. Now they were a king and queen. The queen said, "This is your father. You helped him when he was the sick man." And the king said, "This is your mother." Then they kissed him and took him into the palace. So the star child became king. He gave bread and clothes to the poor and was kind and good to everyone. There was happiness in the land.